Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Muktananda, and hello, all you beautiful, lovely, gorgeous souls who are catching us live or on the replay. It is Monday with Muktananda. This is our second Monday in a series of goodness knows how many, where I just literally show up and ask questions and we have discussion. And what I'm curious about today, we'll just dive in, because it's a word that I struggle with and a definition that I am not clear about myself. The word is evil. So evil forces in the world, those with evil intent, evil as I don't know, a thing, an energy, a presence. I'm very curious, Muktananda, how you think of evil. What do you make of it? I think we're past the question of does it exist? I think we've seen evidence of it. But I used to think it didn't exist. A while ago, I used to think, oh, well, we just train our thoughts in the direction of love, and anything that feels like evil, that's just non-love. Because for a long time, I kind of took what Marianne Williamson teaches about to heart, and that was kind of what I took from her teachings. But yet now I still follow a lot of her work, and she acknowledges the presence of evil. And I'm just really curious about it. So what do you think about evil?
Well, that's a really very good question. If we look at it from the point of view of energy, then it's a lower frequency energy, as distinct from higher frequency, which moves into light and love. Then evil would fall into darkness, but also ignorance, a lack of awareness. Operating the way I do, as we are multidimensional beings, then we look at this third dimension as a plane of reality in which certain karma plays out. And I take the position that we are here by choice, meaning we came here with awareness, but most of us forget. That's how that dimension works. And then there's a process of awakening up for some, not necessarily for everyone. And so I just look at evil as a lower frequency energy based on ignorance. Mm-hmm. And it's something that, to the extent that we are committed to serving others, then we will do what we can to eliminate the evil that we see within our sphere of influence, since we're about service. When we're operating from a non-ego place, then what else is there to do in this dimension other than to serve others in a way that is coherent and consistent with our own particular dharmic mission?
Thank you. Do you feel that we all have evil within us?
Well, evil, if we break it down from what it means to be a third dimensional human being, we are linguistic beings. We live in language. That is how we are constituted in this physical plane. So evil, if you look at it from a linguistic perspective, evil is an assessment that we make about something. It's not an objective fact, although one could argue that certain acts which we label evil are pretty clearly non-loving, not like love in a pragmatic sense is the recognition of the other as a legitimate other. It's not about, I'm moving it away from being a feeling, although it also is a feeling, But when we look at love as a pragmatic action in this dimension, it is recognizing the other as a legitimate other. And when a person acts in a way that we would claim is evil, clearly they are not treating the other, whomever that other may be, as legitimate. And therefore, we make up stories about why, therefore, it's okay to act in ways that are the opposite of love and care and humanity.
Yeah. And so potentially we all are capable of operating from that place. Would you say? From the
Well, we're all capable of forgetting that we are all connected, and that the other is a legitimate other. We're all, in that respect, we're not necessarily consistent. We don't live with unconditional love, which is the highest expression of love. It's unconditional. Okay, well, that may be a goal or an ideal, but most of us live in emotionally based love, which I call transactional. It's a kind of deal we make. I'll love you if you do this, this, and this. And okay, it's kind of, and if the other person doesn't fulfill our expectations, then that love that once existed seems to go away. And sometimes it becomes just neutral, or it can even become hatred. Okay. So are we capable of acting out of alignment with our higher self? Of course we are. And if you want to call that evil, that's fine. I don't necessarily think of it as evil, because evil has a particular nasty connotation to it. And, you know, maybe it wouldn't go that far. But when we talk about energy, it's a scale, right? Higher frequency, lower frequency, and where are we on that frequency? And if you're at the extreme low end, you might call that evil.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that sparked this question for me is that I have a dear friend who I have known for a long time. We don't share similar spiritual beliefs, which is fine. And I know she loves me. And I know that my work makes her uncomfortable, because she comes from a particular religious perspective that has taught her that communicating with souls and I guess the type and nature of work that I do is something that puts me at risk for being, say, more susceptible or vulnerable to dark forces, evil forces. The devil is what, in religion is how it's labeled. And fairly recently, we had a difficult conversation because this stuff was hanging in the space between our friendship, and neither one of us were terribly comfortable bringing it up. And it was one of those things where in my mind, I was saying, it's okay. She can have her beliefs. I know that there is love there. I know that she cares about me. And I also wondered, it just left so much open to me, to my wondering of what is she actually thinking, though, because we haven't really talked about this. So when we talked about it, she shared with me, she said, I know that you are coming from love. I know that you are channeling from a place of love. I am afraid for you because she, in her words, the devil disguises itself as, something that feels or looks good or like love, and might derail you in your work. And so when I use the word evil, I'm intentionally using it because it is the most powerful word I can think of to reflect that really dense, low vibration, non-loving, and even what can feel threatening energy. But devil's fine too. We can use devil. Since a lot of people
Or hate, perhaps.
what?
Hate.
Hate, yes. But so I wanted to share that, and I guess get your reflections on it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, you touched on a number of topics when you talk about beliefs, okay? And beliefs can be simple. We all operate with certain beliefs, or we couldn't function. For example, we believe the sun is going to rise tomorrow, okay? We don't think about it a lot. We might not even call it a belief, but we more or less take it for granted, and so far it always has, okay? Now, but the part that I want to get at is that many of our beliefs, where they come from, they aren't known to us. In Jungian analysis, that might be considered as subconscious beliefs. Or in the world of the energy work that I do, I might call it fourth dimensional samskaras in the Sanskrit, or imprints, negative imprints that we carry with us, not only from past lives. Okay, so now there's another belief. Some people have a trouble with the concept that we have been in physical form before, not necessarily on this planet, but in other third dimensional planes of reality. And we carry with us those imprints, okay, and those patterns and those scripts, which play out in the third dimension in this lifetime, but we're not necessarily aware of it. And they're also programmed into us from the time we're born, depending upon where we're born, into what family, and what the beliefs of our parents are, and they get indoctrinated. The Jesuits had a statement that, show me the child of 7 and I'll show you the man. Based on the premise that by the time a child is 7 years old, the programming has already been set that will govern the rest of their lives, unless we can wake up and become aware of what those programs are, of what the paradigm in which we're living, how it shapes the reality that we experience and create for ourselves. So a big part of awakening, or enlightenment, if you like that, is to become aware. That's the first step, to see what are those forces that are driving us. So we have a lot of history of religious beliefs, and that's what you were kind of alluding to, because the friend of yours sounded like they could have been living in the 15th century, where they burned witches at the stake, right? For witchcraft, or for having beliefs that went against Catholic doctrine. I mean, there's still a lot of that exists today, and people are just simply not aware of it. So, and then people get driven by fear. So if you're going to rise above that, and at the same time be present for anyone who happens to be like your friend, you hold a higher vibration. If you're going to get into a debate with them, you may or may not succeed. But if you can hold a higher vibration and just be present and not get caught up in a debate, there's a level of resonance that can stick with the other person. And you're doing that because she knows you love her. How does she know that in spite of her beliefs? Her beliefs should have you banned as a heretic. In her worldview, in her belief system, you don't fit it. But at the same time, she can't deny that you love her. So what part of her knows that? And that's the part you want to nurture and care for and love and just be with, because that's the one thing that can help awaken her from the rigidity of the beliefs in which so many people get caught up in.
Yeah, and I feel so, I didn't argue with her. And it was just as you described. I listened and I witnessed and I understood. I understood that she's coming from a place of such deep care and concern for me. And based on the belief system that she has, it is, it is reinforcing, it's driving this, the concern that she has for me. And we didn't need to get into how our beliefs differ because that's self-evident. And I didn't need to convince her of anything else because I know that she receives a lot of peace from her religious beliefs and from her practice. And I also don't feel that it's my role to, I don't feel it's my role to be a part of her awakening. In fact, I feel that to think such would be, to me, would feel like some kind of a hierarchical thing, like, well, I know more, or I am, let me show you the path to enlightenment, which that's not how I feel about it at all. I feel that she's enlightened in her way that resonates with her. And because this is my work and my core belief is that my role is to support people in their in what's working for them and letting go of what isn't. And then if there's desire there to go beyond, then I can be a connector for the beyond. But that's not, she's not a client of mine. She is a friend, and our conversation ended beautifully with, whew, okay, glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah, no, this is important that you just made an important distinction that she is not a client, she's a friend. Mm-hmm. Because when you have a client, they are granting you permission to say what you say. So you don't then, they're already, so if there is a hierarchy, they're acknowledging that you're operating at a higher frequency. Mm-hmm. And they are granting you the authority that comes with that ability. But as a friend, she's not granting you that.
Yeah.
So you are not there to convert her or to be anything other than a friend. And if you can keep that distinction clear as you have, there's no issue. At the end of the day, no matter how much comfort her belief system and her practices give her, there's still an underlying fear mm-hmm. and doubt. That's why she engages in the conversation. But there's, you can only be aware of that and shower love and grace in her and place that in her aura consciously, but it's up to her to respond how she responds.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. It was a wonderful opportunity for me. And I watched my ego mind go to, all sorts of places. I did have a desire at some points in the conversation to reassure her that I'm safe. I'm okay.
Yes.
There isn't anything that is dark that's trying to, penetrate my, my field or lead me astray. But again, it's not my role. We were really there to listen to each other, and her sharing with me what she worries about for me, I did receive as a very loving act. I think as a Jewish mother, we thrive on worrying about our loved ones.
Yeah.
So I understood that from a personal perspective and know that it comes from love. And that's that. It just kind of cleared some things for us. It let me not feel like I was in an avoidance with with her, or what I could or couldn't say in our conversations. I would intentionally avoid talking about my work because I sensed that it made her uncomfortable. And now that I understand better what part of her is uncomfortable and why, I probably will still avoid talking about my work, but that's okay. It's not from a, what does she think of me? Does she think I'm not doing what I say I'm doing? I now understand that she cares for me deeply. And this is a way for now that she is present to that. And these are the things on her heart. So, yeah.
Well, as long as you can keep the friendship and your work with clients as two distinct domains, then you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I feel like I feel complete for this meeting. I feel like that there's so much richness in what we talked about, and whoever's listening, I sense that there's going to be some important pieces that land in beautiful ways for whoever this is meant to serve. I know I've gotten a lot of benefit from it. So I thank you,
I very
Muktananda.
much enjoy these conversations because you keep me on my toes. What did you say? You told me what the topic was like a minute before this call began.
I know. I was literally, just for our viewers to know, I was literally clicking in to link everything up and go live. And I told Muktananda, do you want to know what the title of our talk is today? He said, yeah, that could be helpful for me. And I said, well, here it is, evil, and whatever I wrote. And he's like, oh, okay. Just a light, superficial topic for us to ponder. So I thank you, and I look forward to our next one. We will be doing these every other Monday, and showing up with an open mind and an open heart is all that's required. So thank you so much, Muktananda.
And
Blessings
thank you,
to you,
Stephanie, and all of your wonderful listeners.
Yes. Okay, you take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.